Welcome to this explainer. I'm absolutely thrilled you're here today. We're going to dive right into an incredibly powerful story about why your unseen efforts, those quiet, exhausting grinds, are literally building the bridge to your future success.
So, have you ever felt like your absolute hardest work is just completely invisible? As a coach, I hear this all the time. I hear it from entrepreneurs, artists, students, basically dreamers of all kinds who are just exhausted. It feels like you're shouting into a totally empty void, right? Well, today, we're unpacking a parable from our source material that proves exactly why you've got to keep going.
Section 1. A Dream in the Dust. Let's look at the story of a remote tea shop. Okay, so picture this. There's this young man in a super remote, dusty area of India, and he opens this tiny tea store just to survive. Our source notes that he had this really beautiful dream in his eyes. He pictured this vibrant future where his little shop would be absolutely packed with people, and the cheerful sound of clinking teacups would just fill the air. But his actual reality? Yeah, it was nothing but dust, silence, and literally zero customers.
And man, this just perfectly captures the daily grind so many of us face. Every single morning, he'd open up his shop with so much hope in his heart. But then, every evening, he'd have to close it up, just completely defeated. At night, he'd literally watch his kettle stay cold and his hard-earned supplies slowly spoil. But, he didn't give up, because this shop was his only way to survive.
There were even these agonizing moments of false hope. Like one day he's sitting there in the dead silence and he sees a car coming. A real spark of hope lights up inside him. But the car just stops nearby. Nobody gets out, nobody orders tea, and just like that, his heart sinks all over again. I mean, we've all been there, right? Where victory looks so close, but it just drives right on past.
Section 2. The Unseen Turning Point. Let's look at a pretty fateful mistake.
Now here is where the story completely flips. One evening, two guys who had a bit too much to drink stumbled near his shop, and, well, they were behaving pretty badly. While they were messing around, they actually rubbed against the local milestone right next to the shop. Originally, this stone said the town of Agar was 10 kilometers away, but they rubbed off the 0. So suddenly, a 10-kilometer distance looked like a 1-kilometer distance. And this completely accidental, unseen little alteration created a massive ripple effect. Travelers driving down that dusty road would see the milestone and get totally confused. Naturally, they'd pull over right in front of the boy's shop to ask, "Hey, brother, how far is Agar from here?" And while they were standing there anyway, they'd order a cup of tea. The boy literally had no idea how his fate had just shifted overnight. But think about it. One person stopped, then two, then three. Slowly but surely, the crowd he had been dreaming about started to show up. His hands got busy. The steam finally rose from that kettle, and his smile actually came back. The huge climax of all this happened when one particular traveler stopped by. He asked the same question, and the boy naturally replied, "Oh, Agar is about 10 kilometers from here." The traveler looked totally baffled and said, "Then why does the milestone say 1 kilometer?" Right then and there, the boy's eyes were opened to what had actually happened. The very next day, he walked over to that stone. He looked super closely and spotted the faint marks where the 0 used to be. It all clicked. Something shifted deep inside his heart, and he actually bowed in gratitude to that very stone. He realized that this totally random, unseen event was exactly what saved his business and opened the door to his destiny. Section 3. The Coaching Corner. Time to talk about the sheer power of persistence. So when we map this story onto your own life, the pattern is so relatable. Life often brings us to this point of just dead silence, right? It feels incredibly isolating. Your hard work feels totally useless, and you start asking yourself that heavy question, what is the point of trying so hard? But as our source material emphasizes, unseen efforts are never actually wasted. Just like the young man who was breaking down but still opened his shop every single day, you have to remember that the story almost always changes right before you're ready to quit.
And here is the absolute most crucial takeaway. We really need to redefine defeat. Real defeat isn't losing. It's not failing. Real defeat is giving up hope entirely. You literally cannot live without hope, because if you lose your hope, you are guaranteeing that you won't be standing there with your doors open when your circumstances finally do shift.
Waiting for change. What is your milestone? Listen, wherever you are today, no matter how isolating your reality feels or how dark that road ahead looks, your efforts are never, ever wasted. Just because you can't see the results yet doesn't mean they're not coming. You have absolutely no idea when, where, or how the milestone of your life is going to change. It could be an accidental shift, a chance meeting, or just a sudden realization.
Which leaves us with one final, absolutely vital question to ponder. If your milestone miraculously changes tomorrow, will your shop still be open? Because if you stop fighting right now, that breakthrough moment will literally pass right by a closed door. So keep fighting, hold on to that belief, because if your breakthrough arrives tomorrow, you need to be there to receive it. Thank you so much for hanging out with me for this explainer. Keep your hope alive, and I'll catch you next time.